Hi, everybody. Fran here. We're just checking our audio and our video. Welcome back. It's Essential Living session number 5. And tonight we're talking about emotional resilience. So it's a topic I'm particularly passionate about because I have appreciated the emotional benefits of using my essential oils regularly, probably in the last 3 years in particular, right, of my 5-year journey. So I'm very, very excited to share this information with you. So let's grab our essential oils. And you want to have maybe some wild orange, some tea tree, some grounding oils, like maybe a balance or frankincense as well. And if it's in the evening and you're a little bit tired, maybe you grab your peppermint and you give yourself a little on the thumb, half drop on the thumb, and press it to the roof of your mouth and help to wake up the brain. And I'm just going to share my screen here with you because I've got lots of great information. I'm very, very excited to share that with you. So you can gather your oils and we'll go from there. We'll get started. Yeah, Magda and I were chatting about how this is a little rejig, right? It's always a little, how quickly you can do this is a test of your presentation skills. No, just kidding. So welcome back. So we're talking, or we have talked in the past about nutrition and supplements, rest and harmony. Last week was a great session with Magda around clean living and essential homes. We talked about how to detoxify perhaps some of the products and habits that we do on a daily basis to really start to utilize our essential oils more broadly and to incorporate those wonderful habits all along. And so I want to invite you now to think about what you need from our session today. So in your mailer, you also would have received your I'm Fabulous sheet and protocol. You might like to have that handy. I really intended it to be something that could be a reference for you, so you can keep that to the side. So maybe grab your tea, your cozy socks, and let's talk a little bit more about essential oils and emotional resilience. And so I'm going to review for a moment and remind you of this breath technique, right? So we have the 4-7-8 breath. And what that means is that we're inhaling for 4, we're holding for a count of 7, and then we're exhaling for a count of 8. Let's try that one time. And what that's going to help us do is to be present, right? To help us be present in the moment and give this our full attention today. So let's take a deep breath in through the nose. 4. We're going to hold for 7. Exhale for 8. Exhale the last little bit. And maybe return to your normal breath pattern. Maybe you want to do that 2 or 3 times to help lower the heart rate a little bit, to help us be a bit more present to receive, right? Because that's what we intend. We intend this to be not only fun, but to be an opportunity to receive. And so right now, just think about any questions that you might have had from previous sessions, or maybe that you're kind of curious about in terms of emotional aromatherapy or emotional resistance. And you can either jot them in the chat, you can pop a note to us, and let us know how you're making out, what you're curious about. We'd love to know that. And so today, in particular, we're going to focus on the science behind emotional essential oils. We're going to give you some tools and habits for healthy body chemistry. And we're going to actually utilize a practical emotional wellness kind of protocol and steps that you can do right now. So the oils that I wanted you to have for these particular protocols that we're going to try out tonight is a cleansing oil. So maybe your tea tree, I'm going to put this in the email for you, a tea tree or oregano or cypress or lemongrass is really good. And then you also want to have 2 nourishing oils. That's going to be step number 2. So maybe like a wild orange and bergamot or a grapefruit, some citrus oils. And then the third grouping of oil that you want, you can just pick 1 or 2, is a grounding oil. So the third step is going to be grounding. And so you want maybe like a balance or a frankincense. Just choose from whatever you have in your collection or that you already use that you love, right? Let's get started. So essential emotions, how would we like to be more happy, more connected, more empowered? I think we all would be. Love that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more of a holistic approach to how we can do that. So of course, we know that when we integrate an approach that honors the connection between mind, body, and spirit, and we nourish all of those layers, we're going to be able to improve the vitality and health, not only at a cellular level, but then, of course, the way we feel as human beings, right? And so our body is made up of these intelligent cells, and they're really wired, they're designed to restore health and balance. Now, here's an interesting definition that I only fully appreciated probably about 3 or 4 years ago when I started to learn and investigate and experience more around emotional aromatherapy. And think of this. Emotions are information carrying molecules that bind and react with cell receptors. So they go into the cell, impacting function and behavior. What do you think of that? That was a bit of a stretch and eye opener for me. What do you mean emotions? So let's differentiate between emotions and feelings. No, my slideshow is not wanting to move. There we go. So emotions versus feelings. Emotions are associated, again, with that bodily reaction. It's a biochemical reaction activated through neurotransmitters from your brain and hormones released throughout the body. Feelings are the conscious experience of those emotional reactions. So there's a biochemical reaction that creates an emotion, and the way we feel is an expression of that emotion. You with me? So emotional resilience then is the process and capacity of adapting well in the face of trauma, adversity, or stresses, right? So it's that impression that you can bounce back from difficult experiences, right? So that you know that you have that resilience, you have that capacity, that ability. Cool? So quick review. We know that we have 3 brains. We know that they are intimately connected, but to what extent do they really interface and control or influence how we feel, right? So we know that science tells us it's a complex neuro process. So let's break it down kind of simply. And if this is simplistic for your understanding of what happens, apologies, but I think this is a really nice place to start. And so we'll go there. So the mind, of course, is the director. It's the subconscious mind, of course, directs over 90% of behavior. And if you think about what I learned in yoga training, for example, very simplistically, my mentor, Jenny Kierstead, told me to think about, the mind having thousands and thousands of thoughts all day, every day. We know that maybe the average adult will have 6,000 thoughts in the run of the day, that 95% of those thoughts, particularly for women, are likely negative. Can you imagine those thoughts that we necessarily don't control or are mindful of? And that's why meditation is important and helpful for a lot of people, because it helps us be mindful of those thoughts. So add the thought, add how you're feeling, or add the emotion, pardon me, add how you're feeling, and that gives us the expression, right? Fascinating, fascinating. So it is very important for us to curate the thoughts, right? Because we have control over those thoughts. Anyway, back on track. So the mind is the director, directing over 90% of our actual behavior. The heart, you can call the discerner, and there are more neural pathways that run from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart. So the heart really impacts and gives a lot of information to the mind, right? So that emotional center, if you will, directs a lot of what actually goes on in the mind. And then finally, the gut, what's sometimes known as the processor, gives us 90% of the body's serotonin and other feel-good chemicals, right? Or they're actually produced, those hormones are produced in the gut. And so there's actually even more neural pathways that go from the gut, which is sometimes called the primitive brain, to our actual brain. So there's more information coming from these other areas of the body and influencing how we think and then ultimately how we feel. Pretty cool, right? And so this is a very simplistic way to think about it. Feelings are really chemicals that can either help or hurt, right? So let's look at it again. We connect all these three pieces, all these three brains, and we feel good, right? We nourish all those three layers, we're feeling good. The typical experience is not quite so clear, not quite so positive, perhaps all the time. So these three brains instinctively process every life experience. And here might be a typical woman, a mom, for example. The baby is crying, the dog needs her and is climbing up. She's on the phone, and you can obviously see on her face, she's not happy. So what's happening? So she's processing all of these experiences. Her mind is saying, I have to figure this out, right? That's the logical, I have to figure this out. The heart center is saying, I feel overwhelmed. And the gut is saying, I feel stuck. These are the messages that are being directed to result in a reaction or a feeling of likely overwhelm, right? So what is the physical expression of that? So here's the emotional experience, but what is the physical expression of that? So you might experience head tension or conflicted feelings or constriction around the heart. You might have an unsettled tummy or unsettled gut. And that's often what we see in children when they're upset, is that gut area, you know, if they have an upset tummy, is because of an emotional experience that maybe necessarily wasn't so positive for them. So in summary, we have this experience, we process it, we have a physical reaction then, and then that can result in a belief, right? I'm not good enough. And I know we've all had that particular thought. That is the most common thought for women. But there's hope, and I'm so excited to share this with you. Simple protocols. We know that essential oils support healthy emotions. Why? Because essential oils try to bring back balance to the cell, right? Try to bring back vitality to the cell. And we know that essential oils, again, because they're oily and the membrane of the cell, outer membrane of the cell is oily, and the essential oil can permeate inside the cell and can also act on the outside of the cell, that it can anchor that healthy biochemistry and it can promote that physical and emotional detox, right? So emotional oil or essential oils, pardon me, help us to emotionally let go. And I can tell you for sure that that is true to my experience when I added cilantro oil, about 6 months ago to my particular essential oil routine to try and help physically detox. The emotions that have been coming up for me for the last 6 months have been really revelatory, right? Allowing me to kind of deal with things that I hadn't dealt with in the past, and helping me move forward. So I'm really appreciative of that particular oil. Now check this out. Did you know that one single drop of essential oil has over 40 million trillion molecules? So you only need a drop. So these chemical compounds, again, service every cell in the body in a matter of minutes. Remember, within 20 seconds, it's reaching the brain when we smell it. So how can we use our essential oils for wellness? Emotionally, mentally, holistically, right? So of course, number one, we can shift the mood very quickly and very simply. Smell is the fastest way to affect mood. So maybe you're diffusing, maybe you're taking a couple of drops in the palm of your hand. And how does that happen? It affects the limbic area or the emotional seat of the brain. This is one of my favorite energizing blends, of course, a little bit of wild orange and rosemary and peppermint essential oils. I bet you'd really love that. So give it a try. So the second way, of course, is topical. And why does this work? Because it stimulates self-repair. So we're communicating to the cells at that localized area, but then it's going to be found through the whole body within a matter of 20 to 25 minutes. So to impact emotion, to impact the mind, of course, we can apply to the back of the neck, even across the forehead or on the bottoms of the feet to give us that overall benefit. And if you have socks or shoes on right now, you might want to start to slip them off because we're going to try our protocol in a minute. You could apply your essential oils over your heart, along the inside of the wrists, and even the inside of the elbow crease is a great area because we have that line of energy from the wrist to the inside of the elbow crease, across the heart and to the other side. So you get that complete kind of communication when we apply over the heart. Inside of the ears, or pardon me, behind the fleshy pockets behind the ears is a great place for your essential oils as well. And then, of course, over the stomach or bottoms of the feet. So over the stomach, if you're feeling that gut reaction, but I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're trying to learn something and you've just had a whole big study session and you're trying to process an information. Well, digest then might be a really great thing to even just inhale, because the oils in that particular blend also help us to digest or process information for the mind, right? Very cool. So then the third way, of course, that we use our essential oils internally, and why that's going to work to help support our emotions, and I just told you a little bit about my experience with cilantro essential oil, is that it's balancing the chemical reactions, right? So this is definitely when we only want to use doTERRA essential oils internally or sublingually, because of course they're certified pure tested grade. We have the co-impact sourcing, so you're getting all that beautiful energy from the harvesters and distillers and farmers of these particular oils. And how you're going to do that is use a drop under the tongue, or maybe press the thumb to the roof of the mouth, maybe in some water, right? Add your favorite tangerine or spearmint oil to your water, or you can add that to a veggie cap. And we talked about that previously too. And that veggie cap is just going to allow the essential oils to provide you with overall health support. Cool. I add a drop of frankincense to the roof of my mouth every morning. And I kind of do it like this. I'll show you. Here's my frankincense. Here's my frankincense. So I kind of drip the oil onto my tongue, and then I scoop it and press it back to the roof of my mouth. And that really works nicely for me because number one, my tongue gets a really good workout. And number two, it gives you that, that feeling, that instant sensation of kind of relaxation and calm. And so now I want to share with you a really tremendous protocol. And again, this is from Desiree, formerly Mangadog, now Desiree de Lunay. And she's an acupuncturist, Chinese medical practitioner, author, and really tremendous woman. I've met her a time or two, and it's really, she's really passionate about what she does and so tremendously intuitive. And so this particular protocol that's in your packet, in your mailer, was a little more complicated. It has 4 steps and some oils that I thought most people may not have. So I wanted to make a protocol that was going to be really accessible and useful to you. So let's slow down a little bit and have an essential oil experience in a break. And so this particular protocol is great to try if you've had an argument with someone, or if you're holding on to something from the day, you're not able to let it go, you need a little boost, or you just want to start the day or finish the day kind of more balanced, right? A little more even emotionally. And it only takes about 2 or 3 minutes, and it's an absolutely beautiful protocol. So grab those oils. The process of the experience is we're going to cleanse first, then we're going to nourish, and then we're going to ground, right? Cleanse, nourish, and ground, right? So the grounding you can think of almost as integration as well, right? That new energetic state that we're solidifying for you. So what you're going to do is take your oil, and you only need a drop or 2. And this technique is a layering technique. So we're going to apply the oils one after another. And none of these have to be diluted if you don't want them to be, but you can dilute them if you wish. But we really want, I suggest not diluting them, because you want that beautiful aromatic experience. So let's take a drop or 2 of our tea tree. I've got it in my palm. I'm going to apply it to the top of my head, brain, over my heart, number 2, and over my gut, number 3. And I'm just giving myself a little belly massage. And then rub your hands together. You've got tea tree in there. And give yourself 3 deep breaths. Whew, so powerful. So use the oils that you have. Tea tree is very cleansing, but perhaps you don't have tea tree. Terra Shield is a great alternative. Lemongrass or cypress would work really, really well as well. And so the next category we're going to use is citrus oils. And these are nourishing, they're uplifting, right? So I've selected wild orange and bergamot. And of course, wild orange, the oil of abundance, bergamot, the oil of self-acceptance. So I'm going to take 1 drop or maybe 2 because wild orange is amazing, and 1 drop of bergamot. And again, to the top of the head. I like to apply this over my throat because it's nourishing. And of course, as many of you know, I have hypothyroidism, so low thyroid, over the heart and over the solar plexus in particular. So your solar plexus is between kind of your bra line, if you will, and your belly button. So that center of personal power, that Manipura chakra, we call it in yoga. So I've got all of that bergamot and wild orange in my hand. And again, we're going to take the 3 deep breaths here. Oh, wow. I'm feeling better already. I love teaching these classes because I get to experience these things that sometimes, you forget about, these beautiful protocols, and we all do that. And then the final piece in this protocol is to ground. And what you want to do is have access to the back of your neck, and the back of the neck, the spine, base of the skull, and the bottom of your feet. And if you don't have access to that right now, that's cool. Maybe just do the back of the neck. Another alternative to balance essential oil, I use balance first thing every morning, might be frankincense or maybe black spruce. Or if you're trying this protocol before bed, you may really like a little bit of serenity or adaptive, right? So we've just cleansed what's not serving us. Now we're nourishing ourselves, our thoughts, all our potential and good emotions. And now we're grounding, right? We're integrating what we've just created. So a drop or 2 of balance, and balance is a wood oil, of course, frankincense and black spruce in this combo, and it's pre-diluted. So it really is lovely in the bottom of the feet because then you're getting that benefit as well. I've got my shoes off, so I'm going to pay attention to the particular, in particular to the base of the big toe. We talked about this before on another session, but that's going to be a great area for you. And again, maybe you want to try that little fleshy part behind the ear. And this is a little slower than it normally would be because I'm explaining it as we go. 3 deep breaths. And now you've got all of those oils. Oh, it's heavenly. But normally this would only take you about maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. And then take stock of how you feel. And I'll almost guarantee you that you're going to feel a lot better. So there you have it. Now, in previous classes, we talked about things, the lifestyle choices that we can use to support our healthy emotions. Of course, that lifestyle pyramid, right? Improved diet, good fresh fruits and vegetables that give us prana, life force energy, resting and harmony or meditation, making sure we're moving our body daily. And that water intake in particular is so critical for emotional and mental health, right? And then we can use our essential oils for moment by moment support. So taking stock of how you're feeling right now, you might begin to be able to intuitively reach for 1 or 2 of the blends that you enjoy, that you prefer for your emotional needs. So quickly, I'm going to run through our oil families, their properties, and then what you could use again in the moment. So we know that citrus oils are uplifting, they're cleansing and energizing, like our wild orange and bergamot. Florals are harmonizing, calming, and soothing. So think about Roman chamomile or rose or even jasmine. herbs and grasses are warming, grounding, and soothing, like your rosemary and your vetiver essential oil. And the tree oils are calming, balancing, and renewing. Think about the beautiful black spruce that we have here in Canada, and arborvitae, or even frankincense and the tea tree oil that we just used. Spice oils are grounding, renewing, and energizing, like your black pepper and your cinnamon. And mints are energizing and renewing, and some of my favorite family of oils. There's only a couple of mints available, but spearmint has got to be one of my favorites. And I wanted to remind you that we have the Precious Floral referral gift. So for the month of October, if you refer a client to us, we're able to gift you some floral oils. So 1 referral, and we can gift you an osmanthus roller, and 3 referrals, and we can gift you an osmanthus roller and a jasmine roller. Pretty cool. Ask us for more details on that. So if that seemed a little complicated for, you're asking yourself, gosh, Fran, what oil now do I use for what? doTERRA produced this beautiful 6 set of emotional aromatherapy blends, and they really are beautifully curated and blended to take the guesswork out of it, right? And so you can choose motivate, cheer, passion, forgive, console, and peace. And then I also love that doTERRA has emotional support blends for our children, right? So the stronger, tamer, and rescuer blends are for physical health, right? For immunity, pain or discomfort, and digestive upset. Tamer, one of my favorites. But the steady and brave blends are for emotional health, and calmer and thinker for mental focus and mental support, right? So what do you need to do if you want to learn more? Well, I already mentioned that we have Desiree Delaunay. She has Facebook, Instagram, she does podcasts, she does workshops, she does online and virtual webinars. And so that might be a really lovely place for you to start, again, exploring a little bit more. I love the Essential Emotions book. This has been a tremendous resource for myself. You can see I've always got some tabs in it because I'm learning more every day about emotions and essential oils. And there's a 10th edition now that I've pictured there for you. So that's the updated one. And maybe you know of a great essential oil resource around emotions as well. Oops. And so just a friendly reminder that if you wanted to host a class, if you wanted to host a block party, or even provide that referral to us, we're very, very appreciative and grateful for that. And another resource for emotional essential oils and emotional resiliency and how to use your essential oils is the new Essential Life book. And this is kind of like the essential oil Bible, if you will. And so it's got a huge section on emotional use of essential oils and how to support yourself with particular protocols. And then always ask, right? We're happy to be a resource. We're thrilled that you're part of our essential oil community and ready to support you and share our experiences as well. So are you ready to feel good more often? Reach for your essential oils a few times a day, and that can definitely be a very simple, natural support for you. So thanks again for joining us. So glad that you were here. Let us know if you have questions. I'm just going to check the chat box. And otherwise, we will see you next time. So next week is establishing habits and taking action. So we're going to pull all the threads together from each of the 5 initial classes and tie that up nicely into, something that's, what have you learned? Now, what are you prepared to take action on? What's really priority for you, and how to implement these pieces, and how your essential oils can help you with that healthy lifestyle. Thanks so much again, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.